Have you ever felt like no matter what it is that you do, you just never seem to be able to make enough progress towards making more money or becoming rich? And if you do feel that way, you're not alone, because for many years, I too felt like I was just stuck, and no matter how hard I tried, the progress I made still felt very limited. But then I realized that there are a lot of beliefs about money that we might have that is holding you back from becoming rich. So in this video, we're gonna go through the most common money beliefs that keeps many people poor and what you can do to break out of this cycle. The first belief is that you need to work hard in order to become rich. Now, don't get me wrong, hard work is definitely important, but only in certain cases or situations. But the way society has conditioned us to think that it is virtuous to work hard and that we should all feel proud of our hard work, this to me is nothing but a limiting belief. A lot of the most hardworking people in the world aren't necessarily the richest, and likewise, a lot of the richest people in the world aren't necessarily the most hardworking. So there's no real correlation between the two. It's just that most people are used to it and they've accepted this idea as the norm, because the education system only prepares you to work a 9-to-5 job, and that's what most people know. But from my experience, to make a lot of money, it doesn't actually take hard work, but rather you gotta be strategic with the actions that you take and utilize leverage on people, on systems. Now, let me give you an example. When I first started my marketing agency, I signed my first client and I personally did all of the work for them. So I would do the photography, write the copy, manage their social media accounts. And then I thought to myself, hey, I could make even more money by signing on more clients. But then it hit me that I'm just one guy and there's only 24 hours in a day and there's a limit to how much work that I can produce. So then I pivoted and started outsourcing the work and hired staff to produce the work on my behalf. So now my work is only to seek new clients. In fact, even that can be outsourced and I can hire someone to do that. So what it means is I can now make a lot more money and scale up because the business is no longer tied to my hard work. It's important to remember that working hard or working long hours does not necessarily equate to making lots of money. Okay, the next money belief that is keeping people poor is believing that you need to have an education, specifically a college degree, in order to get ahead in life and become rich. Unless you're looking to get a high-paying job and become a doctor or a lawyer or one of those things, then sure, you probably need to go to school for that. But the thing is, having a high-paying job is one of the worst ways to try and become rich, because at the end of the day, you're still trading your time for money and you're likely to be paying a ton in income taxes, which you could easily avoid if you were to become a business owner. So if you're just someone who's looking to make more money and hopefully become rich, then a degree is not going to do anything for that. In fact, it might do the opposite by putting you in a ton of student debt. I personally don't even have a degree, because in this world we live in, anything you need can be learned online in a much quicker and more efficient way. So I believe it's far more important to just get out there and start taking action and just do the thing that you need to do. The next limiting belief is thinking that you need to have the next big idea, like you need to do something extraordinary, like inventing the next big breakthrough in technology or whatever. When I was a kid, I used to think exactly that I had to come up with a brand new invention and then I would make a ton of money off of it. But the truth is, you don't need to do that, especially in the world that we live in today. There are tons of people who have become millionaires, launching online businesses, selling really common items, stuff like t-shirts or products on Amazon or whatever. You don't need to come up with something new or revolutionary in order to make lots of money. What you gotta do though is to get started, take action, start the side hustle, make some money, and then scale it up. There are so many ways to make money today, and some of them didn't even exist just like 10, 15 years ago. So you really ought to take advantage of all the opportunities available and get started as soon as you can. Now, if you need ideas of what you can do to start making extra money, I've made another video about it on my channel and I'll link it down below in the description, so be sure to check it out. Okay, the next limiting belief is to think that you're not good enough or that you don't know enough yet. This is one of the biggest reasons most people never see their full potential, because they doubt themselves and allow these limiting beliefs to control their lives. The key thing is you can't wait until you are ready, because you'll never be truly ready. There's always something more that you don't know or that you don't have yet, but you gotta just do it and get started with what you do have and then figure it out as you go along. Most of the businesses that I've built were done without me feeling like I was ready or like I knew enough. In fact, my first ever business was a web design agency. I signed my first client and I had no clue how to design websites, but I was just forced to figure it out, and then I managed to hire someone who could do it. But that earned me my first 5-figure paycheck, and that sparked off my whole journey into entrepreneurship. In fact, this principle still applies for me even till this day. When I start a new project, I remind myself that I don't need to know everything to feel ready, and I would just force myself to get started regardless. The reason why most people procrastinate because they feel like they're not ready is really because a lot of people are afraid to fail. But see, you need to embrace failures. You're gonna suck at whatever it is that you do when you're a beginner because no one starts off being excellent. You only get there with practice and with experience. Like the saying goes, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start in order to be great. Okay, the next money belief that is keeping people poor is thinking that all rich people are greedy or mean or evil or whatever, like they're the enemy. I read this one from the book Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and in it says, you simply cannot expect to become something that you despise. So if you're constantly judging rich people and placing such labels on them, you're telling yourself subconsciously that you don't ever want to become like that. And it's such a common belief that it's almost expected for most people to think that rich people are selfish or materialistic or snobbish or whatever. But honestly, there are also tons of broke people out there who are also selfish or materialistic or greedy, and you might even know some of them. See, money only amplifies who you already are. So if someone is a jerk and they somehow make a lot of money, chances are they're just gonna become an even bigger jerk now. We somehow have this idea that rich people look and act a certain way thanks to how the media has portrayed them. Like when you think of a rich guy, you might think of a snob who's dressed in a 3-button suit like the Monopoly man. But that couldn't be further from the truth because in reality, rich people are really just like regular people, of course with a lot more money. And so it's not healthy to have a mindset where you think all rich people are greedy or, to use terms like filthy rich to describe them. So don't envy or begrudge successful people because you might just subconsciously be telling yourself that you do not want to end up like that. And that could end up in you self-sabotaging yourself and affect your chances of becoming successful. Okay, so when I was making this video, I thought those were the common beliefs about money that could be keeping a lot of people poor. But then I remembered this other one, which so many people have said to me, and it's that money can't buy happiness. Let's set it straight once and for all now. That is absolute bullshit. Sure, money isn't everything. There are other more important things in life, but the more money you have, the more choices you have, the more freedom you have. And if you had more choices in life and more freedom, then wouldn't you be happier? So doesn't that mean that money does buy happiness? When you have money, you have a sense of stability and security in your life, which means you'll have a sense of peace and you'll not feel anxious all the time or be worried about how you're gonna pay your bills. When you have money, you can pay attention to the things that truly matter to you. You can focus on creating meaningful life experiences instead of just focusing on trying to survive, which is unfortunately the reality for most people. For me, I am so thankful to have been able to achieve financial freedom and not to have to work at a job. And that's my motivation to make money and grow my wealth. I don't really care about having expensive watches or cars or whatever. The real luxuries to me are being able to wake up at whatever time I want, being able to eat at any restaurant, do whatever I want. I could just hang out with my girlfriend or play with my dogs and spend a whole afternoon at home with them. All that is only possible with money, and so the belief that money doesn't buy happiness is completely false. Unfortunately though, this notion has been ingrained into our society, and somehow we often think it's noble to not be in the pursuit of wealth. Like you'd hear people saying things like, oh, I'm not doing it for the money, because they probably feel like they're not good people if they were to actually be honest about it and say, yeah, I am doing it for the money. So don't let these beliefs hold you back from accomplishing your success and achieving whatever your financial goals are. Now, aside from all of these money beliefs, there are a bunch of money habits that you also need to avoid if you want to make more money. So make sure to watch this video right here to see what they are and make sure you're not doing any of them. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. For now, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.